This is the IBJ Podcast for the week of August 6th, 2018. I'm Mason King. When fans of the HGTV home rehab show Good Bones start watching Season 4 in a few months, they'll probably notice a few alterations. It'll still be set in Indianapolis, and mother-daughter duo Laine and Mina Starsiak will still be bent on rescuing dilapidated homes in Indy's urban core. But Karen might be a little more scarce, while a new family member debuts. I sat down with Karen and Mina to talk about this next season, how they make a living and profit from the show, and what they think about criticism that their work contributes to gentrification of long-standing neighborhoods. But first, here is a quick heads up and apology. They wanted to do the interview outside on the back deck of Karen's home in Fountain Square, and it was a gorgeous day, a clear day, about 80 degrees outside, so I was cool with that, even though there were some workmen 2 doors away working on Mina's new house. Now, at the time, it seemed like construction sounds would be poetically appropriate for the subject. They get a little more intense about midway through the interview, not to mention a couple of helicopters and some baying dogs that were trapped on a nearby roof. I'm confident you'll still be able to clearly understand the conversation. So, here we go. Okay, before we do anything, I want to thank Mina for participating in the podcast. If you watched the end of Season 3 of Good Bones, which they wrapped up in June, right? Or it televised in June.
Yes.
Yeah.
Both.
You knew she was far along in her first pregnancy.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give us a progress report?
Yeah, baby Hawk is due, literally probably any day. I go in to be induced next week.
Oh, wow.
So between now and then, we'll see.
And I also want to acknowledge the location. Karen, where are we?
We're at Mama Chick's farm, which is the backyard of my house.
Okay. And this is almost like dead center of Fountain Square.
Yes, we're actually in a part of Fountain Square called North Square, and it's a separate neighborhood association. It was originally part of Fountain Square, and then I guess they felt real special. So they made their own little neighborhood, and we're only 3 streets long.
It's a small little chunk.
It's a small little neighborhood, and it's very close-knit, and it's just a great little part of town. I like it.
Even though, this isn't like best practices, we're doing this outside because people are working on houses.
Yes.
And that is, Mina, that's your new house, right?
Yes,
Okay.
that is.
And what's the timeline on that?
We're doing our on-camera reveal in about 3 weeks.
How far along are you in Season 4 and shooting Season 4?
We've done 1 reveal, getting ready to do the second reveal, and everything else for the other.
We've been filming for 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And ideally, we'll film up to Christmas. We're typically a little behind, so they might, the cameras might come back after Christmas for a reveal or 2. But we've got all but 2 projects started for Season 4. So we've got 11 projects started. Not many of them close to completion, though.
Okay. A couple things going on. You're having a baby.
Yes.
That's a pretty big one. How is Season 4 going to be different from Season 3?
We are so much more organized in Season 4. It's
Yeah.
really impressive. I think everybody has finally figured out what we do and figured out how to translate that to TV and film it efficiently. So the same amount of work for 2 Chicks and a Hammer, but way less work for production. And I think because of that, they've kind of nailed down the areas where they want us to focus for TV, which makes it way easier.
It makes it so our filming is much more efficient, so the actual time to run the business is significantly more time available for me.
And I think the way that'll translate for viewers is the viewer will get a sense from the minute we walk in a house what we see as the challenges and how we're going to address them. And then they'll follow through. So there'll be like 3 or 4 things. So it's manageable. Because I think up until now, we would walk into a house and there's 100 problems. And then post-production has to figure out which one of those carries through the story. And how do we do that? And sometimes they'd get lost.
So from the viewer's perspective, is it going to seem like either one of you guys is less involved just because, when you have a baby, you're a grandma,
Well, I'm sort of semi-retiring for season 4, so hopefully it looks like I'm less involved.
How does that?
Hopefully it looks like I'm just standing around nodding my head a lot.
What does that mean, semi-retired?
I think the beginning of the season, just because I can't paint and I can't pick up heavy things and blah blah blah. Mom's been in a lot of the beginning of all the episodes. After the baby comes and I can get back in full swing, it might be a little bit less. That she'll be in the construction-y type scenes. She's still always, she hates the word DIY, but the crafting, landscaping guru. But yeah, she'll be chilling a little bit more.
Well, what do you mean by semi-retirement?
I'm working less. That's what I mean. My husband is retired. I really enjoy his company. So I'm working less and hanging out with my husband more. It's really nice. And actually not working less, working at the job less. We're doing a lot of things around the house that are exhausting.
Oh, this house right here.
The house where we are right now.
Yeah.
We're building a wine cellar right now, which involved carrying 2,850 pounds worth of Quikrete and pea gravel from the hardware store to home and down the stairs and then putting it in. It was a lot of work.
Okay. Is there going to be just as much sort of on-camera interaction between the two of you, or is there going to be less, Karen?
There'll probably be a little bit less, just because if you're a little bit less on camera. But we've got, there's so much family that's in it already. You know, my brother Tad's there. We've got Bobcat Austin, who's done demo with us for a while, and I think people recognize him from previous seasons, and he's an employee of ours now. So he's around full time. My sister Kelsey started working for us, and she's going to be making some appearances.
Because the thing that's really cool about the show, and the sort of the unanswered question of every episode is, okay, is this the one where they lose it?
They edit that part out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. They probably. There's definitely been times where one or both of us were doing. They call it OTF, on the fly, which it's not. It's where we stand there and answer their questions. And there's definitely been times where Mom's just walked away, or I've just walked away. I'm like, done for now. Time out. I'll come back later.
Okay.
So yeah, that happens.
Now, we have a story running in the paper this weekend. It covers a lot of different things. One is that it looks like you want to diversify your incomes a little bit, and you have a couple of projects. And one is, help me out with this, a home goods store.
Oh.
Is that right?
Yeah, it kind of home goods. So we've got this really cool warehouse in Bates-Hendricks that used to be the old Lincoln Theater. It's been a bunch of things between now and then, and we've been using it as a warehouse, but we are super close to being able to get our variance.
I wish you could see the look on her face right now, because it's this.
It's just like, please happen.
It has
we have
been a
one
series
remonstrator.
of unfortunate events trying to get all of the permits taken care of and get everything lined up. And
But
so close.
The plan for it is the front little tiny section will have beer and wine. The bar seats like 4 people, so very small, but a place where anyone can go. And if you don't want to do shopping, sit and have a beer or have a yummy snack. We're gonna do like crafts with Karen, maybe once a month or something, where around Christmas you can come and drink bubbly and make a cool wreath with her. And then the back, the main portion of it, is going to be like
home goods,
bedding, beds, dressers, everything reasonably priced though.
And some local artists we're
Yeah.
hoping will share their art and be able to use that as another space where they can sell it. So
local artists, local woodworkers, all that kind of stuff that they can kind of rotate through as they want.
maybe we can get some local musicians who just want to hang out there. That'd be
Yeah.
nice.
But we want
All
to do
the
it in an
arts.
approachable way, because I think a lot of times so many people ask, where'd you get this, or where's that from the show? And we have really cool relationships with these rug places in Indy that are amazing and have $30,000 rugs. I don't know about you, but that's not in my budget. So I love that we get to work with them and use their beautiful pieces, but the rugs we'll have in our store will be, $200.
Mina priced.
Yeah. So try to make it a little bit more.
And where is this exactly?
It's in Bates-Hendricks,
Okay.
right by, close to Lincoln Lane Coffee.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And this is a property that you already owned and were
Yes.
using as storage?
Yes.
Okay. And you thought, oh, well, this
Right
would make
now,
a great
it's
store.
Karen's Corner after a tornado went through it.
So all of the Two Chicks stuff got taken out and moved to a temporary warehouse space. But I don't have a place for my things yet. And I would like a permanent place. I don't want to move them to the temporary warehouse space until I absolutely have to. I would like to find some place where I can just keep them all the time. And you would think I just built a garage, there'd be enough room, but no, there's not. There's definitely not.
So how much does this cost to get it to where you need it to be?
Mina?
Well, my sister Kelsey is in charge of the entire build out. So she's been getting all the estimates and doing the budget for the store. And it's not finalized, so I don't think she's told me a number. But I'm guessing the build out is going to be close to a couple $100,000. Just, it's an old brick warehouse to get it structurally where it needs to be and run the plumbing and all that stuff. So it's going to be,
Yeah. I would ballpark 200,000.
yeah.
Okay.
And that's just to have it empty.
Okay.
To actually get everything in the store, that's a whole nother budget.
Right. So, I mean, do you feel like that there, I guess you do, that there's a market for this? Would it just be pitched at people in Indianapolis, or is there a sense that there are people coming in from out of town who want to see things that you've worked on, or these neighborhoods that you guys have been featuring?
Well, we know people come from out of town and look at our houses because they stop us and tell us. We came from wherever to just see your houses. So
I think it'll be a cool place for people to go locally, but I also think it'll be nice to kind of have a flagship place where when people do come to see the show and visit Indy, they can go and see a piece of Two Chicks and a Hammer and see some of the local art, be able to have a little piece of it if they want.
So in a way, it's kind of the gift shop for the Two Chicks experience.
yeah.
Yeah.
And do you have a sense of like how much income this could generate for you?
No.
That's not how we roll. I know you're the business journal,
Yes.
but no.
Okay.
We started this whole thing with no idea that it was ever going to be a business.
It's all just kind of on a feeling. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like we won't lose money.
Yeah.
So
But I really think that we underestimate our gut, because what our gut is everything we've ever learned in our life, all of that information, and there isn't an equation for that. You just have a sense. Like, do you think Steve Jobs said, I can make X number of dollars at this?
Probably.
I don't know. You think so? I don't think
I think
so.
he's slightly more calculated than we are.
I don't know. I think we've done really well gauging public demand so far.
And my sister, like I said, is the one. She has an extensive spreadsheet, so I'm sure she's looked at it, and we wouldn't be moving forward if she hasn't figured out that we will make money. But it's not. I don't think it's a get rich scheme.
Yeah.
The storefront.
No, if it employs people and it doesn't lose money,
Yeah.
I'm a happy camper.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if I get to do crafts once a month or once every 2 months with a bunch of people and drink wine, super happy.
Now I got two indelicate questions to ask about.
Okay.
money. Okay, one.
Indelicate.
Yeah, I know.
You're so fancy.
Okay, so you buy, renovate, sell the houses on the show.
Yeah.
Typically, I mean, what's the range of profit for you guys on each house?
I would say 15,000 to 40,000.
I mean, we had one that we only made 2,000 or 3,000
Yeah,
on.
and that was an outlier.
Yeah, that was.
But I'd say our average is between that 15 and 40 mark.
Okay, and are the houses that we see on television, are those the only ones that you're working on, or are there additional ones that you're working
Though
on?
it's usually just those. We're pretty
Okay.
swamped with what we're doing for the show.
Yeah. So you're not being millionaires off of that?
No.
Okay, so...
You're like, so where do you guys
so-
make money?
We
So-
also are not getting millionaires off the show.
that's the next question.
Yeah.
How much do you make from being on TV? And that's
I
just
feel like
just
we shouldn't
the
say the number.
Well, and I think the thing is, what we were told when we started is you were never going to get rich from the show.
yeah.
You're probably not going to get rich from TV in general, but what the show does is create a platform where other companies are interested in working with us. who have we work? Owens Corning. So we work with Owens Corning, and they pay us a certain amount to kind of represent their brand. So it's those kind of integrations.
Oh, on the show.
Yeah, speaking engagements. We do a lot of home shows, which individually aren't huge money makers. But, I mean, during home show season, if we can travel enough, we can do 10 home shows. So it's the stuff that the show sets us up for that is pretty much paying our for us to live kind of thing.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think I can say for season 1, they paid us $2,500 an episode.
Wow. And that's the production company.
The production
You
company
don't work
paid
with
us that.
HGTV. You work with the production company.
Well, we now, contractually it's changed. Originally we were under contract with the production company, and at some point, typically the network will take over the contract, and that happened to us, which is a very typical thing to have happen. So now we work for HGTV. We're independent contractors. It's important to mention that.
Sure.
So
You don't get benefits?
I left being a lawyer to make $25,000 a year, which was not a good business decision. But what you're doing is betting on the come. Like in poker, what do you think's in the hand that you could get? And that's what we're all doing. And that's kind of what the retail space is we think there's a business there, and we're willing to take the risk and see. And that's what poker players do.
Right. So the TV show gives you a platform.
Right.
From the platform, there are
Yeah.
deals you can make
Opportunities.
with suppliers.
Yeah,
You can
and I
do
think a lot of
speaking.
people think, oh, you're on TV, so you make a lot of money. Because we get emails all the time, the most heartfelt emails saying, my mom's sick, can you help with this? Or, our house burned down, can you do this for free? And even if they were paying, we don't really have the time, unfortunately, but we don't have the funds to do that kind of stuff. We have set up a 501c3 that's based around our neighborhoods, so being able to do certain kind of passion projects for that, but it doesn't have a lot of money in it yet.
It hurts to say no too.
Yeah.
I would love to help everyone, but
If we were making millions, totally.
yeah, maybe that day will come.
So your current contract is with HGTV to do the season 4.
Correct.
Let's
Scripts.
say.
Yeah, Scripts
Well,
bought.
it's Discovery now.
Discovery, yes.
Discovery bought Scripts.
Scripts that owned HGTV, so
okay.
Discovery owns everything now.
The network.
Yes.
Okay.
The network.
And they're paying you. Okay, so less than $100,000 for a season?
Feels like a rude question.
Close.
It's like asking my age.
I know, it's indelicate.
You don't care if
I
people
know.
ask your age.
I don't care if people ask my age, but
How old are you?
I'm 58.
That's
Okay.
not far, that's not far off.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
that's
not
not far
okay.
off.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Just ballpark it.
Yep.
Just wanted to ballpark it.
Okay.
Okay, so then on top of that, you've got all these different income streams.
Yes.
You care to ballpark what you net in the year?
When we do home shows, it's like $6,000, and we split it, so a few thousand each, and we haven't been doing as many of those.
Someone recently told us we should not leave the house for less than $7,000 a piece.
So I was told 15. Yeah, okay.
$7,000 a piece. I was like,
Right.
what? I would never leave the house. No one gives us that yet.
Yeah. But I'd say we can probably, if we do an average number of home shows, maybe that adds another 25,000
Total or for each one of you?
each. I would say each.
I'd say each.
Very
Okay.
bad with our finances. As you can see,
That's okay.
I have a professional accountant that keeps track of all this
Yeah.
stuff.
And then for the home goods stuff, how does that work with them? Do they compensate you or give you free stuff?
A lot of
or-
the time, if we have an integration, there's some amount of financial compensation, but then there's also product donation. So Owens Corning provided some roofs to us, which is, I don't know, maybe $5,000 a house for the materials of the roofing. And a lot of the local companies we can do integrations with. There's no financial exchange at all. It's us doing home shows for them and doing social media for them in exchange for whatever their product is locally. So
Okay.
Mom's Garage on season 3, the local company that did
Indie
it.
Organizing Solutions.
Indie Organizing Solutions did her garage in exchange for we're doing a home show. So we'll go and we'll sign and, kiss babies and stuff and bring people to their booth in exchange for that kind of stuff.
So I'll try it one more time. So end of the year, you guys are netting a couple $100,000 each.
Mina's probably
Probably
making more
not.
than I am.
Probably not a couple hundred, like under 2.
Under 2.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
I would say under 2.
Right.
Yes. Over 1, under 2.
Okay. You're
Somewhere
not-
in
you're
there.
not
And
millionaires.
honestly, between that, I'm not sure where it falls.
How long do you guys see yourselves doing this?
I will do this.
Till they close down the ride.
Yeah, I mean the show is different. Like, okay, whatever the longevity of the show is, great. And then I'll go back to probably a slightly more manageable schedule, but keep doing the houses as always. I would assume.
Once the show's over, I'm going to sail
Mom's
off
gonna
into the
bounce.
sunset on a liveaboard catamaran.
Okay.
It's my plan.
Okay, so we shouldn't say, oh, okay, Mina's having a baby. Maybe she's thinking about
No,
getting out of
I
this.
think, and I've even had lots of questions from companies we do have relationships with, like, oh, well, we really want to fit this in because we know the baby's coming and we don't know if you'll be back to work. Like, yes, I will. I will love my child so much. I will never be a stay-at-home mom. I think I'd lose my mind. So, and my husband and I have talked about that, and we're on the same page.
What neighborhoods are we going to see in season 4?
We're not going to tell you because then other people will buy houses there, and we can't afford them anymore.
There you go. Okay, so
But
what is
surrounding
that? What is
downtown.
that?
I mean, we're not going to go far away from downtown.
We
in
like
any
our near
direction.
downtown urban neighborhoods. We really like
Right.
them.
Okay. So what is that dynamic you just described? Like,
So often, there's a few different people that do kind of like wholesaling, and I see these emails come through, and it's like, got this house, 60,000, right next door to 2 chicks in a hammer home, and I'm like, no, you don't use us to sell that because now it's doubled in value, and so it just makes it a little harder for us.
So the Mikey analogy actually works. Do you remember Mikey from Life Cereal?
Oh, yeah,
Have
he likes
Mikey try it. Mikey doesn't like anything, but we're sort of the opposite of Mikey because we will try anything and do okay with it. And we buy the worst houses so that it changes the neighborhood.
And there's a lot of other investors who will wait till we get a couple done.
Yeah, and we've heard that repeatedly.
Yeah.
That, oh no, investors are waiting for 2 chicks.
Let's just all do it. Let's all do it together. And they're like, no, we'll wait a year and we'll make twice as much as you. I can't blame them for that, but
Yeah, I can blame them for that.
does it go up because you have proven that people are interested in the neighborhood, or just because you have been in the neighborhood?
I think what happens is when you take the worst house on a block and you make it the best house on the block, it changes the whole block. And people start to feel different about their neighborhood because they've always loved their neighborhood. And they're like, but other people like me too. Yay. And so the neighborhood itself starts this upward trend just from that little change. And then other people start thinking, oh, I like this neighborhood. I want to live in this neighborhood. So they start buying houses in the neighborhood and fixing up houses in the neighborhood. So there's just, instead of the vicious downward cycle, there's this really benign upward cycle.
Right.
And of course, investors are a part of that. They buy properties where they think that there's room for growth, and then when it starts growing, they sell them.
But there are people that are specifically watching what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I know we're annoying to our neighbors when we move into a neighborhood and we rehab a house because we make a lot of noise, we make
Take
a lot
up
of dust,
parking.
take up parking spaces. But in the long run, it is 100% beneficial for the neighborhood because now instead of an eyesore where there are raccoons and rats and snakes and tarantulas and squatters and who knows what else, trash being dumped, you have a beautiful home with neighbors who care about their neighborhood just like you do.
Right. So what do you say to the critics that say, well, what you're doing is leading to gentrification and making my neighborhood less special?
it is. I mean, it is
Less special? How is gentrification less special?
More homogenous?
Definitely not more homogenous.
I've heard that feedback, and I can see how people would assume that. And the thing is, it is a double-edged sword. Gentrification is going to raise the tax basis. It's going to raise the property values, which is really good for a lot of people. And I think the downside to it is for the people that have been in the neighborhoods for 30 years, they're struggling to maybe afford their increased property taxes because the property values are higher. So I think there's ways to manage that, though. I know there's legislation being talked about that you kind of can get grandfathered in if you've lived in the neighborhood for 10 years, if your house is not under any kind of, health and hospital liens, that your property taxes won't go up. But I think a lot of times it's just people that are afraid of change, too.
Well, when you talk about homogenization of a neighborhood, one of the reasons I love my neighborhood is because I live in a neighborhood where I can walk down the middle of the street in my house coat with a bottle of whiskey if I want and pulling a lawnmower, and I fit right in. And you cannot homogenize a neighborhood like that. You can't. And I don't want to. And I think the people who are drawn to our neighborhoods are drawn because of the nature of the people in the neighborhood who deeply care about their neighborhood. And especially in Fountain Square, I like to say we're cats. We're all fiercely independent. We all have our own ideas about how things should be done. And so everybody does things very differently. And that's why you're drawn to this neighborhood, because peaceful, happy people can just be left alone. You can just have your house. It can be any color you want. You can have any kind of lawn ornaments you want. And that's why you live here, because you like that kind of neighborhood. So no, I don't think we're homogenizing the neighborhood. I think we're bringing fresh blood, people who are excited to live in a neighborhood like this. I am. And I think the people we bring are like me. I hope they are, because they're going to see me walking down the street with a lawnmower in my house slippers. It's going to happen. Because that's how you travel here.
That's the best. We have to stop right there. Thank you so much, guys.
No problem.
Thank you for having us.
Great.
This is fantastic.
Yeah, best of luck to you, Mina.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
My thanks again to Karen and Mina. You can find a profile of the two of them in this week's edition of IBJ, which explores in even more depth the effect the show has had on neighborhoods like Fountain Square and Bates-Hendricks. And I also want to draw your attention to another story about neighborhoods and mobility of a sort. Haley Colombo has the latest on planning for Indigo's Purple Line, the rapid transit route set for Meridian and 38th Street. It will serve a high-minority, low-income population, which is concerned about how it could be affected by line construction, but encouraged by the improvement in service. You can find all these stories in IBJ's current print edition or online at ibj.com. Thanks again for listening to the IBJ Podcast. We'll be back again next week.